चैनल ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਸਮੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਐਪ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਈਵ ਟੀਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ, ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼, ਕੈਚ-ਅਪ ਟੀਵੀ, ਅਕਾਲ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਅਤੇ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੇਰਵਾ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਐਪ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸੰਥਿਆ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਨੰਦ ਮਾਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਐਪ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਡਾਊਨਲੋਡ ਕਰੋ ਗੂਗਲ ਪਲੇ ਸਟੋਰ ਅਤੇ ਐਪ ਸਟੋਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ। ਵਰਲਡਸ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਸਿੱਖ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਚੈਨਲ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਗੁਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਔਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੇਹੱਦ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਲਈ ਪਸੰਦ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ, ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈਗਾ। ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਵਿਸ਼ੇਸ਼ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਉਹ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ, ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ, ਜੋ ਪਿੱਛੇ 2 ਦਿਨ ਹੋਏ ਆ UK ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਸਨ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਕਾਫੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋਏ। ਔਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਖੋਜ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਇਹਦਾ ਪਿਛੋਕੜ ਕੀ ਆ ਔਰ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜੋ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਲਿੰਕ ਆ। UK ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਐਲੀਗੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਐਕਸਟ੍ਰੀਮਿਸਟ ਇਹ ਅਫਵਾਹਾਂ ਫੈਲਾ ਰਹੇ। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਜਾਂ ਭਾਰਤ ਦੇ ਭਵਿੱਖ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੂੰਗੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਆਸਿਫਾ ਬਾਨੋ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੇਸ 8 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਲੜਕੀ ਬੱਚੀ ਜਿਹਦਾ ਬਲਾਤਕਾਰ ਹੋਇਆ, ਉਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਿਐਕਸ਼ਨ। ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਹੀ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਤਾਦਾਦ 'ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਿਊਨਰਲ 'ਤੇ ਲੋਕ ਸਨ, ਹਰੇਕ ਧਰਮ ਤੋਂ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਬੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਸੂਬਿਆਂ 'ਚ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਦਾ ਭੇਦ ਖੋਲ੍ਹਣਾ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾਉਂਗੇ। So on Wednesday, 2 days ago, on the 18th of April this week, we saw Kashmiris, both from the Pakistan and India side, Sikhs, Christians, Dalits and others, in a huge display of solidarity protesting against the visit of the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, to the UK, who was over as part of the Commonwealth meeting that they have annually. There was also a counter-protest, a pro-Modi rally as well. The anti-Modi groups alleged that under the rule of Mr. Modi and the BJP-RSS alliance, we have seen a deepening of a political and humanitarian crisis in the territories in India on an unprecedented scale, particularly in Kashmir, in Punjab. We know what happened in Gujarat, but also in other parts of India as well. Those opposed to Mr. Modi under the banner of Minorities Against Modi sought to draw attention to what they perceive as a collapse of democratic safeguards against minorities, against Dalits, women and girls, resulting in gross violations of human rights abuses. A recent and prime example of this, as I said, was the terrible, tragic killing, the rape and murder of the 8-year-old Asifa Bano in Kashmir at the hands of individuals, including BJP politicians. As I said, huge demonstrations have been taking place across India in solidarity with Asifa, and also Asifa's case has drawn many, many more people into this discussion, not least liberals, intellectuals, many of whom were also at the protest in Parliament, outside Parliament. The other key demand for the minorities against Modi protesters was the issue of self-determination, specifically Indian-controlled Kashmir and Punjab. And we will be exploring these questions as well. However, there was also a significant lobby by secularists and intellectuals who, whilst opposing Mr. Modi and the RSS Hindutva project, were also keen to defend the Indian state. And for them, it wasn't India that was the problem, but it was maybe the governance of India. And pro-Modi supporters alleged that the Pakistani government was behind the protests and that their agenda was to undermine the integrity of India. Indeed, some were even claiming that the murder of Asifa Bano was, and I quote, a fake news story manufactured by the Pakistanis. In terms of reporting of the protests in the media, there appears to be a sharp divide between what might be termed the liberal newspapers, mostly outside of India, that have highlighted the abuses that are taking place in India, and large sections of the Indian media that has chosen to focus attention on what they allege is the growth of extremism in the West, Sikh extremism, Islamic extremism. And in today's special debate, we will be trying to examine all of these issues. We'll try to look at every perspective. Also, I want to say, as a respected and professional broadcaster, Akaal channel is bound by principles of objectivity and balance, and therefore I will endeavour to try to ensure that anybody who makes any claim provides evidence. Otherwise, we will ourselves become accused of being a fake news channel. So, as well as our guests in the studio, and I'll introduce them, we will also be taking some live calls from very distinguished guests as well. So I'm going to introduce our guests. Honme ਸਾਡੇ ਜੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਦੇ guest ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ introduce ਕਰਦਾ, and then we'll get on with the show. So if I start with the guests in the studio, if I start on my right hand side, we've got Jagtar Singh Gill, who's General Secretary of the Sikh Council of the UK. Next to Jagtar, we've got Ranjit Singh Sarai, who is a lawyer, and he was one of the main organisers of the anti-Modi protest in London. Next to Ranjit, we have Jagdish Singh, who is an employment lawyer and a human rights activist. On my right hand side, we have Dr. Sajinder Singh Sangha, who is an academic, educationalist and political analyst who focuses primarily on South Asia and the diaspora in the world. And last but not least, we've got Ravi Kumar, who is from the Anti-Caste Discrimination Alliance UK, who did put out a press release particularly focusing on the oppression against Dalits. And online we have delighted to welcome Lord Nazir Ahmed, who's a chair of the Parliamentarians for National Self-Determination. So मैं सारे ना जी आया आखदा है एक बार फिर फतेह बुलाओ जी वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह. Lord Ahmed, I would like to begin with you if I can.
Sure.
I know that you spoke in the House of Lords on this issue a few days ago, and you've been campaigning against some of the actions of the Modi government for some time. So in terms of the Modi's visit to the UK and the protests against them, how do you make sense of all of these happenings? How do you read the situation?
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Basically, as you know, that since Mr. Modi and BJP has been in government, BJP supported by RSS and Hindutva philosophy, there have been increased attacks on minorities, whether they are Christians, Sikhs, Muslims, Dalits. So there is like two communities living in India. The largest majority is Dalits, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, who are second-class citizens, and there are the elitist Brahmin Hindu caste, which is ruling BJP. Now, since the BJP government has come in power, obviously attacks have increased in various states on students, on individuals, and in the background of the fact that since 1984 massacre of Sikhs, there has been a call for a referendum or a Khalistan independent state, as well as the 1947, 48 and 49 resolutions in relation to Kashmir. But we are also being approached by the people from Nagaland, from Assam, and from Manipur, and many other areas. So this was a natural process as far as we are concerned, that on the Republic Day of India, we both communities, Sikh communities as well as the Kashmiri communities, organized a protest to remember the Black Day, the Republic Day, outside Indian High Commission, with other minorities too. And we were literally physically attacked by a mob of people who were placed behind the High Commission. And I now understand they were all paid £50 a day. And there were some people from the intelligence services, Indian intelligence services, RAW as well. We saw a similar thing, by the way, on Wednesday as well, because at 10:30, people were given, police officers told us this, people were given invitations to meet with Prime Minister Modi. They then were brought in front of the Parliament Square, where we were having a peaceful demonstration, which I'm very grateful to my friend Ranjit Singh Sarai, who actually organized this square for a peaceful demonstration. About 250, 300 people were brought across with flags, Indian flags, with some drums. We were told that we can't have any drums or anything like that because of the house sitting and also the conference going on in the Queen Elizabeth Centre. So what happened since then is as a result of the intimidation and in fact deliberate attempt by certain small group from this group that was supported by the Indian High Commission to come across to cause problems with our young people. As far as I'm concerned, the legitimate right of the Sikhs demanding for Khalistan state, the legitimate right of Kashmiris asking for right of self-determination as a Kashmiri, but also protesting not only, let me remind you, Asifa Bano, 8-year-old gang rape in a mandir, a temple, and kept there until she was killed. And then actually BJP and Congress people went and demonstrated in favor of those who actually raped her, and they stopped police from prosecuting these criminals. Then they actually intimidated. In fact, you can see from Twitter account and you can see from the reports, the lawyer is even intimidated. She's not allowed to represent the family of Asifa, and all because they obviously do it deliberately. But I can go on, but all I just want to
Lord Ahmed, if I think you've had it.
40,000.
Okay, you've had a good go.
40,000 women raped every year, reported rape.
Okay, I think you've had a good. If I can
reported?
just pick you up on one or two points, and then I will bring our guests in the studio as well. Yes, the first thing you said that there was no intimidation from the anti-Modi protesters. Yes.
Yes.
But I've seen images of some young men tearing down the Indian flag that was displayed in Parliament Square, trying to burn the flag. Sure, that is intimidating as well. India is a sovereign country. So how can you say that there wasn't intimidation? Okay, I think we've lost that. I mean, that's Ranjit. Maybe you can pick that one up. He made a number of points, and he was there. So, and you were there. You organised the protest. But one of the points was that is it the case that there wasn't any intimidation? Secondly, the question of Pakistan arises here. I mean, what the Modi people are saying is that there are pro-Pakistani agent provocateurs there. We know that there were protesters there from Azad Kashmir. So give us how would you respond to that? That they're focusing not on what's happening in Pakistan and the killings there, but drawing attention to India.
There are a couple of points I think I just need to come back to you on.
Yeah.
I did liaise with the authorities for setting up this protest. We had a massive engagement from across the Sikh community, from the Kashmiri community, but the Christian community and beyond. It was remarkable. Observers, passers-by noted that was just an incredible spectrum of communities coming together, Dalits included, to protest against Modi. Frankly, that's the kind of stuff that I think we probably ought to be talking about. That what is it that brings these communities to come out and protest? But I'll just pick up on a couple of your points. When I spoke to the police that morning, they told me that the group of pro-Modi protesters that actually approached our protest, which was in Parliament Square, shouldn't have been approaching us. It was a deliberate. This is from the police side. I'm reporting the conversation I've had with the police officer with whom I've been talking about this protest and setting it up for probably 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. So it's pretty clear to me that if there's any intimidation going on Wednesday, it was coming from the Indian side.
But you said that you guaranteed that this would be a peaceful protest, yes? So do you condemn that attempt to tear down the Indian flag and to burn it? I mean,
Dr. Saab,
do you condemn that?
Well, I think
No, but you're saying it was a peaceful protest.
Firstly, it was peaceful. I don't think anybody was injured. I haven't seen any reports of any injuries, of any violence towards any people. Secondly, if we're talking about condemnation, really, we were gathered that day, some 4,000 to 5,000 people were gathered that day to condemn atrocities. Surely that is the subject matter of today's discussion. Not a condemnation of an act which is at the very minimum. I mean, it's on the periphery of what happened that day. So not only, if I can just finish, if I can just finish.
Yeah.
I've been watching the reports, the media reports over the last 24 hours. And frankly, it's scandalous to see the Indian media hyping up this incident over a flag. I don't see them hyping up the issue around the rape of an 8-year and the murder of an 8-year-old. I don't see them hyping up the recent admission, apparent admission, by one of the prime accused of the Sikh genocide in 1984. This has come out. I don't see the Indian media hyping that up. Surely we must put these things in context.
That's fine. No, I've got Lord Ahmed back on line. Nazirji, you're back with us, yeah? I just want to put one further question to you. I think Ranjit has answered the one about the attempt to tear down the Indian flag. That, as far as he's concerned, this was a minor issue compared with the substantive issue about human rights violations. But there's another allegation, and we will have the BJP person on afterwards as well who can respond. But they are saying that actually this is really Pakistani intelligence that are acting as agent provocateurs, that they're deviating attention away from the terrible killings of innocents in Pakistan itself and focusing unfairly on India. And actually most of the conflicts themselves are done by intelligence agents. How do you respond to that? And they include you as one of those people who is the agent provocateur as well.
Dr. Saab, I'm glad that you raised this, and through Akaal, let me actually bring some facts in front of you.
Yeah.
First of all, we ran a bus campaign and also a van campaign, which I know that Ranjit will not like me to say it, but the Sikh community and the Kashmiri community, British Friends of Kashmir, paid for that campaign through my account, and then the buses that we ran, actually British Friends of Kashmir paid for it, and the other money came out of my account, and you can have a look. If you can bring accountants, we'll sit down and do it. But let me just turn this round. Yeah. When we've seen buses about free Balochistan and free Baltistan and free Karachi, let this BJP man bring account of who paid for that, and I bet you it's Raw that paid for it. It is Raw that is doing this. As far as I'm concerned, look, I'm a British member of the House of Lords. I've seen on Twitter all this nonsense and rubbish. It's easy for them to make allegations, but let me just prove it to you. I paid money out of my account in British Friends of Kashmir. Let them prove and see. I know the companies that withdrew our campaign because they were paid by Raw to do it. I'm saying it through Akaal. Let Raw prove that they did not pay, and let there be an organization, BJP, to show us where they paid this company to actually do it, because they can't backdate the payment of the campaign.
Lord Nazirji, we've run out of our 15 minutes because we have others going to be joining as well. So I think you've made your point in a very strong and robust way. Thank you very much for joining us, and maybe next time we'll bring you in the studio. Andy, Sat Sri Akal ji. We will be taking Lord Indrajit as well, but Sangha Sahab, so far, you know, it's like there seems to be like India. This is like a proxy. Almost London has become this proxy between India and Pakistan, one accusing the other of causing trouble. How do you read what's happening at the moment?
Program ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੁਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼। ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਇਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਪੰਥ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਲਸਫਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ, ਤੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਇੱਕ ਖਾਲਸਾਈ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਕਾਇਮ ਕੀਤੀ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਰਗਦਰਸ਼ਕ ਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਰਸੂ ਕਰਨਾ। ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਬ੍ਰੌਡਕਾਸਟ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਘੱਟ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਨਾ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੈਲੈਂਸ ਵੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਕਾਮਨਵੈਲਥ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ 53 ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੀ। ਕਾਮਨਵੈਲਥ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਗਲੋਬਲੀ ਡਿਸਫੰਕਸ਼ਨਲ ਬੋਡੀ ਰਹੀ, ਕਾਫੀ ਦੇਰ ਉਤਰਾਅ ਚੜ੍ਹਾਅ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਚਾਰਟਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਇਨਸ਼ਰਾਈਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨ ਐਸੈਂਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਭਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ। ਮਿਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ, ਮਿਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਬਰਾਬਰਤਾ, ਮਿਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਇੰਟੈਗਰਿਟੀ, ਮਿਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਖਵਾਲੀ ਆ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੁਕਾਈ ਦੀ, ਉਹ ਬੜੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਉਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਨੂੰ ਗਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਸਕਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਕੁਈਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹ 'ਤੇ 53 ਮੁਲਕ ਆਏ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਉਸ 53 ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਡੈਮੋਨਸਟ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਓਰੀਜਨ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ, ਉਹ ਇਹ ਸਾਬਤ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੋਬਸਟ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਟਰੋਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਮਾਈਨੋਰਿਟੀ 'ਤੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਅਤੇ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀਆਂ 'ਤੇ, ਦਲਿਤਾਂ 'ਤੇ, ਸ਼ਡਿਊਲ ਕਾਸਟ 'ਤੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਇੰਡੀਵਿਜੂਅਲ 'ਤੇ ਤਸ਼ੱਦਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੋਬਸਟਲੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ, ਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਲਿਆਂਦਾ। ਇਹ ਹੈਗੀ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਇਨ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ। ਔਰ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਧਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਆ। ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਰੂਪਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਥੇ ਰੋਬਸਟਲੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਊਜ਼ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ। ਉਹ ਅਧਿਕਾਰ ਹੈਗਾ। ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਹੋਰਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ, ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਹੋਰਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਜ਼ਮੀ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਵੱਲ ਵੀ ਉੱਧਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰਾ ਸ਼ਰਾਰਤੀ ਅਨਸਰ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ, ਪਰ ਬੈਲੈਂਸ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੈਲੈਂਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਨਜ਼ੀਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਵੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਰੋਬਸਟ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਟਰੋਸਿਟੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਉਹਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਦੇ ਹੋਈ ਆ? ਕਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੁਝਾਨ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੈਂਡੈਂਸੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਊਥ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਬਲੋਚਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਬਾਲਟਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਮੋਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਆਉਂਦੇ? ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਬਾਇਸ ਹੈਗਾ। ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪਲੋਰ ਕਰੋ। ਅਤੇ ਅੰਤਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਫਲੈਗ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦਾ ਫਲੈਗ ਆ, ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲੀ ਸਾਡੀ 100% ਮੋਦੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਰੋਧਤਾ ਹੋਵੇ, BJP ਨਾਲ ਵਿਰੋਧਤਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਰੋਧਤਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਥਰਡ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਰਾਜ ਹੋਵੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਰੋਧਤਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਪੋਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਐਸਟੈਬਲਿਸ਼ਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਕੌਮਨ ਪੋਲਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ 125 ਕਰੋੜ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟੇਟਿਵ ਸਿੰਬਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਉਹ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ 53 ਮੁਲਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਡਿਲੀਬਰੇਟਲੀ ਸ਼ਰਾਰਤੀ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਪਾੜਦੇ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਤਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਫਲਸਫੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਉਲਟ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੰਦੇਸ਼ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਅਗਰੈਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਬਚਾਉਣਾ, ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੰਦਰੂਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਕਰਨੀ।
ਮੈਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ
ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਬੜਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਅੰਸ਼ ਹੈ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੱਕ ਰੋਬਸਟ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਜਵਾਬ ਦਿਓ। 16 ਅਪ੍ਰੈਲ ਗਾਰਡੀਅਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ editorial board, the editorial board of the Guardian, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ world renowned respected newspaper ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹਨੇ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਬੋਲੋ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸਾਰੇ editorial board ਨੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ, and I'll read this out and you can tell me whether this represents a robust democracy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India tweets frequently and considers himself to be a voice when a talented orator, yet he loses his voice when it comes to speaking out about the dangers faced by women and minorities, who are frequent targets of nationalist and communal forces that are part of the base of the BJP. Indians took to the street during the weekend to protest against the government's callous response to the horrifying rape of the murder of an 8-year-old girl in January, in which supporters of the political party have been implicated. Mr. Modi, though, has barely spoken about this crime and other cases involving his supporters. Until last week, he declined to address the attack on the girl in the northern state of Jammu and Kashmir by men who wanted to frighten and drive away the nomadic Muslim community, and it goes on and on. So is this a sign of a robust
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੋਰਲ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਨੇ, ਮੋਰਲ ਹਾਈ ਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ।
ਮੋਦੀ ਨੇ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਡ ਕੀਤਾ?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੀ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਅਟਰੋਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਬੁਲੰਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ ਸਾਰੇ, ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਓਕੇ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਕੋਈ ਬਾਇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਕੀ ਬਾਤ ਸਭ ਕੇ ਸਾਥ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਸੀਗੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਥੀਏਟਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ 1.5 ਘੰਟੇ ਦਾ, ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਨਾਲਿਸਿਸ ਕਰ ਲਓ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆਪ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹੀਆਂ। ਚਲੋ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, we'll come back, I'll come back to this issue. ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਭਾਈ ਮੋਦੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛੋ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵਕੀਲ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ।
ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਨਹੀਂ। ਲਾਰਡ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਨੇ, ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
So,
ਫਤਿਹ
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ. Thank you for joining us, and I know that you
Yes.
also spoke very passionately in the House of Lords a few days ago about the atrocities. So how
Yes.
do you read the situation at the moment, what's happening in India, but also the Modi's visit to this country and the kind of, the response you saw, how many people were there from all communities outside Parliament?
I think that to understand what's going on, we should remember what a robust democracy is. There's some people will feel it's a suppression of democracy, because when Pandit Nehru became Prime Minister, he said, we have a duty, a pledge to protect all minorities. The robust democracy of India resulted in the atrocities of killing of thousands of Sikhs in 1984. Okay, that was Congress, but with Mr. Modi, we've been asking for an inquiry so that we can bring closure to 1984. No, he won't do it. He is indebted to the people who put him in power, that is, Hindu extremists.
So what do you see as the way forward now? Because we do seem to be seeing an increasing sense of urgency. I mean, the rape of the 8-year-old child in Kashmir has brought people out to the streets, not only in Kashmir but in Punjab as well and other places.
Yes, the treatment of women has never been worse. It is getting worse and worse. But so is the treatment of all minorities. India is in a bad way. You can talk about wonderful democracy, you can talk about a wonderful constitution. There should be a little humility, and it should work to go back to where we were when India got freedom in 1947. The Transfer of Power Act in 1947 said that the Indian Union would be a loose linking of states with only currency, foreign affairs, and that in common. Now, the centre has controlled more and more power. What India must do is give more and more autonomy to states.
Just one other thing, Inderjeet Singh, when you spoke in the House of Lords, I saw your speech,
Yes.
and I also saw the abject failure of the government, the British government, to respond, other than just to say we can't interfere with the affairs of a democratic state.
Yes.
What,
Since I've been in the Lords, I have asked about India on at least 30 or 40 occasions about the suppression of minorities in India, not only Sikhs but Christians and Muslims, and each time the response is that we cannot interfere, that's for the Indian people. Now, yesterday I spoke in the Lords at length about the hypocrisy of the British government, Western politics, in looking only to trade. If trade is there, they're silent.
Yep.
If there's no trade, they can become like big bullies, because in Sri Lanka they wanted a UN inquiry into the killing of Tamils in Sri Lanka. I said, why can't you do it in India? Oh, that's a matter for the Indian government. There is total hypocrisy.
Okay, Inderjeet Singh, we've got. Thank you very much for joining us, hopefully we'll try to do a longer kind of discussion with you about the future. Thank you. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਅਮਿਤ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਵਾਈਸ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਜਨਤਾ ਪਾਰਟੀ UK। ਅਮਿਤ ਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਹੈਲੋ ਅਮਿਤ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ?
Hello, is Amit here?
Okay, thank you for joining us. Amit, I don't know if you've heard some of the arguments already that have been offered by Lord Ahmed and Lord Inderjeet Singh. I don't know, I'll give you some chance to respond. Basically, they are saying that minorities are not safe in India. Children are not safe, girls are not safe, Dalits are not safe, and India is a failing democracy. How would you respond?
I mean, first and foremost, it depends how you define minorities. So do you define minorities by the population increasing, or the, what attributes are decreasing? So the population of Muslims have increased, population of any other people in India have increased. The only population which has decreased, right, in the last decades is Parsis. They are not complaining. They are happy. Everyone's happy. Now, these are not my statistics. These are statistics of the World Bank, the United Nations, etc., Asia Bank, completely third people, right? Now, if you say they are not safe, that's an opinion. Let's look at facts. What are the facts? Population has gone up, wealth is gone. So I think a third person would say, I think they're having work to do. India is the next superpower, growing economy, the world's, I think, fastest economy at the moment. So I don't know from where the statistics speak for themselves.
Okay, well,
if you compare it to any other country, right? So if you go to China, what human rights 4 hours ago, there was an attack on a human rights commissioner in Pakistan. Now, if you look at Pakistan, right? If you Mr. Ahmed, I don't know if he has a Pakistani dual card or something like that. Does he have a card? Right? On that, it's clearly written on the page. Denounced Ahmadis, right? Now, you're trying to tell me a person like that is questioning human rights and democracy, right?
Amitji, let me ask you a question. Let's get to specifics. On the protest, there was a pro-India lobby there as well. And one of their spokesmen, and I can show you the interview, he said that the whole incident of Asiva Bano, the 80-year-old girl, that was a fake news that is fabricated by the Pakistani intelligence. Do you agree with that?
I don't want to comment on that, on somebody else's comments. How can I comment?
But do you think that...
4 days ago, there was a rape in Pakistan also. They even ordered a revenge rape in Pakistan, right? Sikh women in Pakistan are raped and are being converted to Islam, right? Does that mean, what do you have to say about Pakistan
now? But two wrongs don't make a right.
What does Mr. Ahmed have to say about Pakistan, right? Let's not talk about that, right? The people right now, 4 girls on their face, acid was thrown after raping them in Pakistan. And these are not my statistics. These are Pakistani news. These are not fake news. And unless you're calling Pakistani news as fake news, Dawn News, Geo News. Geo News 3 days ago was blacked out by the army. So can you tell me whether democracy is vibrant, India or Pakistan?
So
right?
Tell me, how would you...
Commonwealth, right, is standing only because of India. Because of India, it's being relevant. You think Commonwealth, the Queen really cares whether Pakistan is there or not there?
One other thing.
In the last 12 days, within the last 7 days, right, there have been attacks. There was 5 Pakistani soldiers killed by Afghanistan, Muslim country, right? Iran and Pakistan almost went to war 4 days ago because of killings on their border, a Muslim country. The highest human rights award, the highest civilian of authority award of Saudi Arabia is given to Mr. Modi of India. Highest award of Iran and Israel is given to Mr. Modi of India.
Amitji, this is
right?
not...
Let
me ask you a specific question.
From Saudi Arabia?
Why did Modi drag his heels in not condemning the Asifa Bano murder? Why did he drag his heels on that one?
There were 20 other rapes this year. Have you questioned about that? Did you ask him? Commenting?
Answer this one. Why didn't he...
No. First you answer that. There were 20 other rapes. Why are you only asking about that? Have you asked me that? Right? There were 5 rapes last week in Pakistan. Have you asked anyone about that? Rapes in UK. Discuss that. Let's at least show some sense of civility when we talk about women. We all have sisters. We all have daughters. If that's what we are going to become, if we come down to that level of animals where we discuss rapes like a political stunt, I feel ashamed to be a human being. Let's not do that. I will not do that. I will call a sister in Pakistan who's also raped a victim and someone in any other country also a victim. Let's not do that. Let's discuss where things are happening.
Okay,
right? Today you see Indian women everywhere.
Okay,
right? Doctors, engineers, bankers, scientists. What do you see of Pakistan? Only one lady languishing in a jail in bloody... in US, and either a person who wants to, a girl who wants to study education in Pakistan, her head gets shot up by Taliban and she comes to study in UK, funded by the taxpayer.
Okay, Amitji, we have to go for a break now. But all your points, we have people here, and I will ask them to respond to those.
Ask them also to respond about Baba Jan, right?
Okay.
Where is Baba Jan in UK, right? Where is he in Pakistan? What about his human rights in Pakistan? Why are Pashtuns protesting? Why are Sindhis protesting? Let's not even talk of Balochis.
Okay,
can they discuss Pashtuns?
Amit, we have to go for a break now, but thank you for your contribution. and we will put all those points to our guests. Sat Sri Akal ji. So ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਵੱਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੋ ਅਮਿਤ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਰੱਖੇ ਆ ਜੋ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਵੀ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਆਇਆ ਉਹ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਪੱਖ ਲੈਣਗੇ ਸੋ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜੁੜਾਂਗੇ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਸਮੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਐਪ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਈਵ ਟੀਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵੀਡੀਓਜ਼ ਕੈਚ-ਅਪ ਟੀਵੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਰੇਡੀਓ ਅਤੇ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੇਰਵਾ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਐਪ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸੰਥਿਆ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਆਨੰਦ ਮਾਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੀ ਐਪ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਡਾਊਨਲੋਡ ਕਰੋ ਗੂਗਲ ਪਲੇ ਸਟੋਰ ਅਤੇ ਐਪ ਸਟੋਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਵਰਲਡਸ ਨੰਬਰ 1 ਸਿੱਖ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਚੈਨਲ ਅਕਾਲ ਚੈਨਲ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਨਰਿੰਦਰ ਮੋਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਿਨੀ ਯੂਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਮਨਵੈਲਥ ਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਔਰ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਮਿਲੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਕਾਫੀ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਗਰੁੱਪਸ ਨੇ ਦਲਿਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੋਰਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਚੀਅਨਸ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡੀਪਰ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਰੇਪ ਦੇ ਕੇਸ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਜੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਮਿਤ ਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਤਿਵਾਰੀ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਪੱਖ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਅਟੈਂਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੱਕ ਕਿਉਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੀਮਤ ਆ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਵੀ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਇੰਟੈਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਨਵੋਲਵ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਉਠਾਏ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛੂਗੇ ਪਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਰਵੀ ਕੁਮਾਰ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਐਂਟੀ ਕਾਸਟ ਡਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਅਲਾਈਅੰਸ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਰਵੀ I know that you issued a joint memorandum from the Dalit diaspora in the UK and this was signed by the Anti-Caste Discrimination Alliance, the Valmiki Sabha UK, Ambedkari and Buddhist Indian Workers Association, Indian Scheduled Caste and Ravidasi communities as well. Where you're making very grave allegations against the BJP government about the oppression, the killings of Dalits. Yet we hear from Amit Tiwari, who just appeared, and was saying, actually, India is a democracy. It's not a perfect democracy. And, in such a large country, you will have these incidents, but why draw attention to these incidents and not look at all the progress that's been made?
I think Amit also made a good point. He referred to some of the international bodies that have looked into India and the statistics that have come out. For example, United Nations, the World Bank, and they've also pointed out that India has the highest rates of malnutrition. 70% of its young people are malnutrition. Dalit people are killed. I think it's up to 10 every day. And you've got double the amount of women that are raped every day as well. These are facts that international bodies have gone out and had a look at as well. It's a fact, we can't deny it. There's a big issue within India. And as our role as community leaders, we do point out the progress that India makes.
They're lifting millions of people out of poverty.
Not enough.
Recently, they've issued...
As a country the size that it is, it's making progress, but not enough. Yeah. But it's also our duty to be talking to our brothers and sisters, to be saying, well, what about us? What about these issues, the oppression, the sickness that exists within Indian society, caste discrimination? Dalits and Adivasis are the indigenous people of India. We're the biggest group in India. Look at Punjab, we're the biggest ethnic group. We make up the biggest ethnic group. But we face discrimination in every state, wherever you go. So there is sickness, there's an illness, and there are issues that we have to raise. And we raised them. We protested with the protests on Wednesday. We brought together all our community leaders and we did a great joint memorandum. I think it's a fantastic product. And we also wrote to Modi and we invited him to a meeting. And he responded and he agreed to meet, which is good. So Tuesday, we brought all our leaders together. We went to the Dr. Ambedkar House in London and we waited for Modi. We had a memorandum ready.
Yeah.
We had questions ready because India is a democracy and we should be able to invite our elected leaders to come and talk and to debate and to be held to account. He pulled out at the last minute, which is a shame. But anything that brings Dalit people together is a good thing.
Did they say why he pulled out? Or?
No real clear-cut feedback. It could be other matters. He could have had a pressing concern. I think he was meeting with the Prime Minister. But he was there. Other ministers were there from the BJP party. And we did, discuss matters. And the unity amongst us was good. Because ultimately, I think we should be holding... He was democratically elected and we should be holding him to account. And now, at the end of the day, the issues that we put in the memorandum, they're real, they're raw. Minorities in India are facing more oppression. since this government's been in power. There's been a crackdown on secular voices as well. The rapes, and it's awful what happened with the 8-year-old in Kashmir, Afisa.
You mentioned both Asifa and the Umana gang rape case as well.
We do, because they're in the media eye. It's sad though, because there'll be little girls that are raped every day. Dalit girls, tribal girls, Adivasi
they're
girls.
tribal, yeah.
And do
you think that they are particularly targeted, the tribal and the Adivasis? And
they target the most oppressed, you know, the most marginalised.
Okay.
It has been Dalits for thousands of years. Today it's Muslims. Tomorrow it may be Sikhs. You know, so they will, those that are most economically weak and oppressed, and where there isn't stronger democratic power, they are targeting them. So it's right to raise the concerns. It's right to come together and hold the Indian PM to account, which is what we do.
Thank you very much. Another group that was heavily represented at the protest were the Kashmiri groups, and we have a speaker from the Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, Faiz Mahmood, on the line now. Faiz, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. So we've got just a few.
First of all, Assalamu alaikum and Sat Sri Akal to our friends.
Yeah. So you've been listening to the debate so far. So one of the.
I'm really sorry that I come in the studio.
Yeah. Just one of the. I just want you to say, obviously, give your perspective as well as to why you, the Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, were in that protest, but also respond to the point that Amit Tiwari raised, was that really there are atrocities being committed large scale in Pakistan that that is not being drawn attention to, and that it's unfair just to focus on some individual cases. So, what would you like to say about the situation of Kashmiris?
Why the Kashmiris were there? First, you need to understand the issue of Kashmir fully. Kashmir was never part of the British Raj. The two-nation theory did not apply to it. So when Pakistan became independent on the 14th, India became on the 15th, it wasn't until 20th October the Indian army actually invaded it. And it is just that. It is a small neighboring country being invaded by a much bigger country who's acting like a thug in South Asia. On the issue of the Pakistani side of Kashmir, well, we in Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front believe that an independent Kashmir, independent of both Pakistan and India, will act as a buffer zone, and we allow the two countries to develop, to spend money, not billions and billions in arms to the West, but on education, healthcare, welfare. So what the people of India have to ask themselves, where do you want your money spent? Do you want to spend your education? Millions of people are born and die on the streets of Delhi, homeless. Kashmir is never a threat to India. It can never be a threat to India. It never was a threat to India.
Let me just ask you something, Faiz Saab, if you can just... in Kashmir at the moment, there is a BJP and alliance with the Kashmiri party there, yeah? We know that Kashmir is a majority Muslim state, yet there is an alliance there. So how can you say then that there is this unanimous support?
Well, you're mixing the two things up. What you have there is people's local needs. Yes? So you will have areas where you have right-wing school of thought, just like you have in India, where BJP gets elected. So you will have equally right-wing thought. But they're not the majority representative. They're not the solution. Right-wing extremists, just like the Nazis of Germany, want the solution for Germany. They were the problem for Germany.
But surely the breakup of Germany wasn't the solution. In fact, what we've seen in Germany is the bringing together of the two Germanys.
That's exactly right, and that's how Jammu Kashmir sees Kashmir. We see the joining of Kashmir together, of acting together as a buffer zone between the two countries.
Okay, Ji.
Now, let me just add something on while I have you here, and this is a very important thing to remember, and it's from the forefathers who founded and defeated the British in making India independent. And this is Nehru's statement in the Indian Parliament on 26 June 1952. And he said this: I want to stress that it is not only the people of Kashmir who can decide the future Kashmir. It is not that we have merely said to the United Nations, to the people of Kashmir. It is our conviction. It is one that is born out of by the policies that we have pursued, not only Kashmir but everywhere.
Okay, Ji.
I started the presumption. It is for the people of Kashmir to decide their own future.
Okay,
we will not propel that. Now you have 750,000 army shooting, raping, pillaging. Not a single soldier is ever held accountable.
Okay, Faiz, thank you very much. You've had your say, and next time we will have a longer discussion with you. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go back to our guest in the studio. ਆਪਾਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਰ ਲਈ calls ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣੀਆਂ. Later on, ਜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 10 ਮਿੰਟ we'll maybe take some more calls if anybody wants to ring in. We have Jagtar Singh from the Sikh Council UK. Jagtar ji, the last time that Mr. Modi came to this country, the Sikh Council actually did meet with Modi, and I know that there were a number of demands. You weren't the Secretary General there. There was some fallout at the time. There were some groups saying you shouldn't meet him, you legitimise him. But this time it seems like the position has shifted slightly. Rather than going and meeting him again, you actually issued a very strong open letter demanding that he delivers on what the previous demands, which he has failed to do. So what is the Sikh Council's position at the moment regarding
the position hasn't changed. Yeah. So what we're asking for is really clarity. And the test of a true democracy, it's a democratic country, it's a fair society. It's not how it treats its majority, but the minority. And Ishliwar, there was an opportunity for a meeting, and Sikhs went in good faith, had a meeting with Prime Minister Modi. And those meeting ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੇ issues ਸੀ, ਸਾਡੇ concerns ਸੀ, they were not just raised in dialogue, but also in writing.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years later, so where are we? At that time, Prime Minister Modi publicly committed to looking at those injustices and actually saying, okay, those injustices, I feel the pain, that something needs to be done, and I will action some remedies for that pain. And 2.5 years later, we see little or no difference. So the reason for having this very public letter was to really commit to that meeting that took place previously. Those were pledges that were made by Prime Minister Modi very publicly, to not just the Sikhs but to the world. Actually, I understand the Sikhs' pain. And what I'm saying in this letter is actually 2.5 years later, none of those issues, or very few of those issues, have been addressed. Okay. And that India is on sort of a crossroads with the Sikhs, because that meeting was in good faith.
Yeah.
Those that went in good faith. They raised the issues, and so at the end of the day, those issues are still outstanding now.
Some of the protesters there were saying, rather than doing anything about this, if anything, things have gone backwards. We've got the Jiggy case, for example, which are prima facie, all rules of habeas corpus have been broken in that case. So they're saying that you were actually, duped, that in fact they used the Sikh Council to gain legitimacy. Maybe that's why they feel that they can do what they've done with Jiggy.
Sikhs can't forever, we can't forever just say there's injustice. There has to be some space for dialogue. There has to be some space for having a discussion. And there has to be some space to say to the Indian government, to Prime Minister Modi, actually, enough is enough. We are facing these atrocities, this injustice.
So the Sikh Council is prepared to talk to the government and make the demands anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah, the Sikh Council came into in being to resolve issues, whether those are with the British government, whether they are with the European government, or whether they are with any other government. So at the end of the day, we must find a space for dialogue. But that doesn't mean that we that space for dialogue is then misused. The meeting took place 2.5 years ago. And there hasn't been any movement not much movement on prisoners. If you look at 1984, the genocide that took place, there hasn't been any movement on that.
Yeah.
If you look at the reference library that was attacked in 1984, those items still haven't been returned. So all these issues are important to the Sikhs. And those. So
why do you think that? I mean, when the previous meeting happened, there was fanfare. The then Secretary General was actually coming in the media saying, almost praising Modi, his speech at Wembley. Why then haven't they delivered? If they said they.
So I said it was all in good faith. If I raise a concern,
do you think that you were heard? Do you think that was their strategy all along?
Yeah. So if I raise a concern with you, Ghulam Singh, and then you publicly give a commitment to look into those issues and resolve those issues, then I have to take that at face value.
Okay.
So I have to then return and say, I've raised those concerns, we've had a response, and the response has been favourable, let's wait and see.
Okay.
So all Gurmeet Singh said at the time was, let's wait and see. But we've had a favourable response.
Right, this issue isn't about the Sikh Council, but thanks for clarifying this issue. Jagdish Singh, you've been waiting patiently, and I know that you have very strong thoughts about this. Isn't it dialogue that we should be promoting and not standing outside Parliament and shouting and throwing abuse? Isn't dialogue the way forward?
See, this fanciful word dialogue...
it's part of Sikhi Siddhant. Guru Nanak did dialogue.
It's all very quick and easy, this jingoism of Sikhi Siddhant and this, that and the other. Dialogue with who? Dialogue on what? And what will that dialogue produce? Dialogue has been going on with the Indian government and the British government ever since the existence of the Sikh Council. Now, I'm not condemning the existence of the Sikh Council, but what has the Sikh Council got to show for itself in terms of dialogue?
So how would you resolve the issues then? Let's put the Sikh Council on side. And what are the issues in your mind?
Right. The issue, not just the issues are quite clear, from self-determination to human rights to multiple and infinite other issues. Until a community engages in united action, of which we saw a powerful specimen earlier this week on Wednesday, until a community engages in direct action rather than engaging in these photographic, petty, fanciful, political game-playing photograph taking with ministers and whatnot, which is absolutely a sham and will go down in historic record as a sham. When people look back at it in 50 years' time, they'll look at the faces and they'll look at the failures. You show your strength. We will not cooperate with the Indian government. We will not cooperate with the British government. We will not cooperate with the Pakistan government until its human rights records, until its unethical foreign policies remain the same. Show your strength, not your weakness. We don't need to have a dialogue with any government unless that government is prepared to commit and deliver on preconditions. And for example, you take the 1984 revelations of those documents. The whole dialogue was a sham between Sikh organisations in which the Sikh Council and others played a role. The Sikh Council should have shown the courage and the ethics of saying, we've got some primary demands to the British government. Commit to an investigation. Commit to Sikh ethnic recognition. Commit to this and commit to that. Then the atmosphere is ready for a dialogue. Don't go rushing in with all your clothes off and ready to have a chat and samosa and tea with them.
But the other thing is that, you know, the Indian representative, he wasn't representing India, but he was speaking for himself, is that all the attention is being focused on the Indian state, which is, you know, it's got huge levels of poverty. They're working hard to develop the country, to lift the country. Violence does take place, but they're saying, why is it selective, focusing on certain incidents? Yeah, and why don't they say that Pakistan should be breaking up?
Right, you know, the world knows. Jagdish Singh, as part of the Nations Without States, as part of Gishti, we are fundamentally clear. Pakistan and India are equally rogue states. Their record since 1947 is that of a rogue state. It's not a new sudden development. The whole creation of Pakistan and India is characterized by bloodshed, totally undemocratic transfer of power, total genocide that took place in 1947, and that consistent genocide and repression on many levels has continued in both states. So none of them are better than the other. Both claim to be democracies, both claim to be this and that, and both have this hate speech against each other. They are both condemnable states. Okay,
Ranjit Singh, respond to some of the allegations made by the BJP person saying that this is selective, this is really about anti-India, Pakistan intelligence is behind this, and you know, they say that they have prima facie evidence and Lord Nazir's involvement with this. How would you respond to that?
Dr. Saab, I feel slightly as though I'm on the wrong show.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I thought this is about Panth Di Awaz.
Yeah, the voice of the nation, yeah.
The voice of the nation, the Sikh nation.
Yeah.
Some of us might not agree that we're a nation around this table, but we are definitely a nation. Hanji, the agenda here is the Panth Di agenda, no? Or it should be. The issues we raised, we haven't even got into those.
Your chance to raise them.
It's India, it's Pakistan, it's this guy against that guy, this person from the BJP who can't even acknowledge the gravity of that awful rape and murder. because he needs to point out that there's rapes at other places in the world. Let's just move away from that.
Okay, so what are the issues and what are the solutions?
I am going to try and, please.
And then we'll bring Sangar Sahib.
Please give me an opportunity.
I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes. Put out the issues.
Okay, so the first thing is the idea that this is a proxy coalition is nonsense. A memorandum was delivered to the UK Prime Minister last Sunday. A memorandum was delivered to the Commonwealth Secretary General on Wednesday on behalf of a huge coalition of grassroots organisations. I can name them now. I don't need to. I think I've sent you a copy of the memorandum with a list of some 30 organisations, Sikh, Christian, Muslim organisations, who have an agenda to raise. Now, the agenda is that it's about human rights. It's about, as far as we're concerned, on Panth Di Awaz, on the Sikh nation. It's not about the Indian flag and the Indian constitution that some people like to talk about. It's about the Sikh nation and the Sikh agenda. So,
but you're saying that it's about human rights, and many of the protesters there were saying that we are Indian nationalists, that we don't want the breakup of India, but we want human rights and we want democracy to work.
Yeah, I think I'm here to talk about the global issues that we raised. Okay. The global issues that we raised were about self-determination. Jagdish has mentioned self-determination. Yeah. The Sikh are a nation, we are a Qawm. Qawm has decided through the Sarbat Khalsa, our national decision-making body, not an Indian constitution, which the Sikh have never accepted, which some people seem to think is a democratic model. It's not. It's a sham. We are here to talk about the right of self-determination, which is enshrined in international law. Now, I'd like to bring one point to your attention, and we brought this attention to the attention of the UK government and to the Commonwealth, that India has formally objected to the right of self-determination, which is a fundamental part of international humanitarian law, Article 1 of the 1966 Covenants. So when India signed up to the 1966 Covenants, it's actually entered an objection, saying we don't accept this right, even though it's Article 1. The most fundamental human right, collective human right. Now that's unacceptable. And the United Nations itself has told India that's unacceptable.
But you, you as a lawyer know that you can interpret that in 2 ways. You can interpret that in terms of individual self-determination for an individual living in a democratic free state, or you can talk about that as collective rights.
Absolutely, it's about collective rights. The right of self-determination, Article 1, as a lawyer, I'm telling you.
Do you have self-determination in the UK?
We're not talking about individuals here. We're talking about nations and peoples. And it was the 1966 Covenant, which talks about the right of peoples to national self-determination. That has been rejected, and it's not just that's not just an ad hoc fact. It's the central cause of the conflicts in Kashmir, in Punjab, in Assam, and elsewhere.
Let me take those points to Sangar, because that, in a sense, Sangar Sahib was defending the Indian side. Sangar Sahib, the UK is made up of 4 nations. Recently we had a referendum for Scotland. They didn't, and so the British government, Theresa May, fakr na kariya. We are, we are nations who work together. Great Britain, and they don't. If somebody in Scotland is asking for referendum, they don't say these are terrorists. But when Sikhs ask for the same rights, then they are labelled as terrorists. So how can we defend a state who doesn't itself abide by those very basic principles of self-determination, as Ranjit's talked? Isn't that the solution to it?
There is a process that they've gone through. SNP for the last 30 years has been campaigning for self-determination and right for referendum. When they came into power, in the Assembly they passed a resolution, and the British Parliament accepted that resolution, and the executive government implemented it. Now, if, for example, you want to follow the same logic, Punjab's assembly, some political party should campaign for it in Punjab or broadly in India, Sikhs if you like, and if they get majority in Punjab's assembly, they may pass resolution. That resolution may go to Indian Parliament, it may accept. If it is accepted, then the Indian executive may execute it, and that's the process which Scotland went through. I'm not saying it's exactly.
But you're
how
saying
the
there is
Sikhs-
no demand. There's no demand for self-determination in India.
Well,
that's what I'm
I
saying.
just showed the process.
Okay.
Insofar as diaspora Sikhs are concerned, we had Scotland referendum, we had EU referendum, we had Quebec, we had others. Sikhs broadly actually voted for Remain, right? Not separation from EU,
Yeah.
Britain, sure. Secondly, in Scotland, we all know that majority of Sikhs actually voted for remaining with the UK. In Quebec, likewise, Sikh leaders there in prominent position and Sikh community there did not vote for Quebec separate from Canada. So what I'm saying is actually there is inherent contradiction within our politics which need to be sorted. So that's one point. And secondly,
I will let you come back. I will let you come back.
Let me just step back.
It's second point, then I'll let you come back.
Don't interrupt. I didn't interrupt you.
Parallel with the Scotland situation is a complete nonsense. They haven't committed genocide.
You may be talking a lot of nonsense. Let me finish my point. I did not interrupt you.
Claim that we have a parallel situation.
That is an important point because one of the grounds upon which people can claim independence is genocide. It's specific in law that if you have experienced genocide, then you have a right for separateness.
So. That's precisely insofar as vast majority of issues relating to 1980s history are concerned. There is broadly consensus among Sikhs that these are the atrocities that we have gone through. These are the discrimination. This is the aggression which took place at Darbar Sahib and so forth. And this is what happened in Delhi. I think broadly, irrespective of one's politics, whether you are a Khalistani or a Akali or Congressy or communist or whatever else.
30 odd years later, the Indian state has not been able to deliver any justice. So how long do we wait?
Exactly.
Another 30 years?
That's actually Guru Nanak Sahib started his process in the 15th century and Guru Gobind Singh completed in 239 years after that. There is never an end to political process. Even if, for example, all Ranjit Singh is calling nonsense, demands are met today, he will get into a new process where new problem will come up. That's a human process. It's unending. ਜਿਹੜੀ human improvement ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕਦੇ end point ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ. Let me get back to the real point actually. Dr. ਗੁਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੇਜ਼ ਹੋਏ ਨਾ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫੈਜ਼ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੇ ਕਸ਼ਮੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਵੇਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਰਾਈਟ broadly I think ਗੁਰਿੰਦਰ ਚੱਡਾ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਸੀਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ 2 nation theory ਜਾਂ 3 nation theory ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ partition ਹੈ it was simple colonial device. Nobody consulted Sikhs and Sikhs actually never voted for partition of India at all. And broadly speaking, it was a device how they can in actual fact keep part of India away from USSR.
So you accept Jagdish's point that we now have 2 artificial states that the Sikhs never supported.
That border should be damn removed, and so is Bangladesh. And they actually, that's a colonial device, like East Germany.
Ravi,
I think we need to have.
Okay, well, but that's another issue. Ravi, I want to bring you because the Dalits have arguably been the greatest victims of this monster state called India. If you look at the atrocities. Over and over again, you talk about Punjab having the highest proportion of Dalits. But the Dalits in Punjab don't seem to have much thirst for Khalistan or for independence for Punjab. Yet in London, you're stood on the same green with Khalistanis demanding. So why is that? Why don't the Dalits feel that the Khalistanis could give them the kind of freedoms and anti-oppression that they're not given under the Indian state?
It's an interesting question. I think the issue of Khalistan is one for the Sikh community to discuss and to develop, and they should be allowed to do that. But it's for the
Punjabi community, isn't it?
It is, and I think you need to widen open that discussion because Dalits themselves haven't been approached and asked about Khalistan.
Jagdish, isn't this the failure? And Sanghas have alluded to it. You know, if you had popular support in the Punjab Assembly for Khalistan, you pass a resolution. The Indian state would not allow, just like what happened in Catalonia, but at least you can make the case that there is demand for that.
When we do a self-analysis, there has been invariably a horrible and very deeply self-reflective failure by a combination of incompetence, a combination of Indian state repression, a combination of idiocy by the Punjab leadership. And equally, that same Punjab leadership, which lives outside of Punjab, that Indianistic Punjab leadership is replicating that same separatism, same insularity, same rhetoric and idiocy. And the Dalits are part of Punjab. They're part of the future of Punjab. They're part of Khalistan, or whatever name you want to call it. But yet the Dalits, we have alienated the Dalits.
Let me come to Jagtal, because you at Sikh Council. We have many gurdwaras in this country that represent the Dalit community. Ravdasi, Gurdwara, Hod bhi hage. How successful have you been in bringing them into the Sikh Council and to try to build common cause with them, because they are just as great a victims as anybody else in that state?
So the wider membership of the council is from all those communities you mentioned.
But how many Ravidas?
But maybe not from the Ravidas community, from other communities definitely. Yeah. But it's an ongoing process. So dialogue.
You said that you haven't approached them.
Well, let me answer. Yeah. First of all, Punjab is varied. Christians, Valmikis, Buddhists. You have many minorities there as well. So, we're on a journey here, and I think Jagdish is right. If you want to make it an inclusive state, you have to open that dialogue. But the other point you mentioned as well is we're standing in solidarity on Wednesday. We will stand in solidarity with any community that's been oppressed. The Palestinians, the Iraqis. We marched against the war in Iraq. 2 million of us, but the government at that time, the Labour government, still took us to war. The politicians voted for it, and I must say this, many of our leaders will still happily jump up and have photos taken with British politicians. So we stand up with anybody who's been oppressed as well, and we're open to any dialogue.
But I know that there's a 2020 referendum campaign taking place, and we'll see where that goes. But putting that to one side, in some senses, when we have the elections in Punjab, we have a kind of a referendum, and I know that I'll put this question again. I'll put it again. The openly Khalistani party actually loses their deposit, has no significant support. Now, you can say that's a conspiracy theory, or you can say that actually we have to do a lot more work on the ground. I mean, surely without getting that popular support, then we can shout as much as we want on the lawns of Parliament. Won't make any difference.
Yeah.
There is work to do. The fundamental reason why the Khalistan struggle has been suppressed is because of the use of illegal force by the Indian state. If that force had not been applied, I think most people will recognize that the Khalistan struggle would have achieved the populist and the popular support that you're referring to. So the question is, if we are going to apply democratic principles, we need to let people campaign for their freedom, for self-determination, in accordance with international law and democratic principles. So when we have political prisoners who are not released even when their terms expire, when we have people like Jaggi, who is locked up without trial, this is intimidating the population. This is telling the people of Punjab not to raise the freedom struggle. This is the fundamental reason why it's not making progress.
Killing, we saw in Bathinda, we saw huge demonstrations in solidarity. So that revolutionary spirit is still there in Punjab. Why are we not tapping into that for this cause of Khalistan?
We're not providing the correct leadership for that energy. The energy is there. The Sarbat Khalsa demonstratively, a grassroots, massive, colossal gathering, unprecedented, of 500,000 people. The energy of the grassroots Punjabi is there, will always be there. But tragically, just as tragically the atrocities and the oppression, tragically the downside, the flip side, we have got an absolutely defunct, uneducated, undemocratic Sikh leadership and Punjabi leadership.
Sangat Alex, and then I'll come back to you, Ravi. I mean, Sangat Sahab, the status quo is not an option for us now, is it? The status quo is the destruction of the
in history,
Sikh nation.
Status quo never stays.
Yeah.
Because human beings came first, boundaries came afterwards. In 100 years' time, who knows, even we won't be here, what the boundary is going to be like. So what I'm saying is quite simply that, for example, very respectfully, Ranjit Singh called nonsense to previous comment, but I would like to ask him respectfully and all generally, not aiming at him particularly, there needs to be some kind of moralization of the case. For example, I saw in your hands one poster which says, India vacate Khalistan. Now, in actual fact, if we go by Maharaja Ranjit Singh's rule, vast majority of Sikh Raj land, geopolitical land, was in Pakistan. So you should be saying actually, Pakistan and India vacate Khalistan. Otherwise, you actually arguing
how
yourself.
How do you respond to that?
Against yourself.
That's a partial.
I can answer that.
I'm not making a particular.
No, it's a good point, and often that point is raised.
Exactly.
Why do you make the capital of Khalistan in Lahore? That's often raised.
I can answer the question. We're talking about freedom. We're talking about freedom of the people, of the nation. Now, the nation is where we are geographically based. Now, the reality is, if we want to talk hypotheticals and we want to create a state on the moon or on Jupiter, you can do that if you like. The reality is we're talking about where the Sikh Qawm
is now.
Okay. And if we are serious about our rights, and we're not just talking rhetoric, if we are serious about our rights, we should get serious about where our Qawm presently is today, what its rights are, how to secure it, how to secure its economic future, how to secure its riparian rights. Together, I must add also, with our fellow Punjabis, you're absolutely right, my friend, we should be engaging with all other Punjabis. This is something that we need to evolve together. It probably hasn't been done enough. We should do it, we will do it.
Okay. Ravi, to come in. I also said that we did say at the beginning that we would have a civilized discussion, and the word nonsense was used. So I would apologise on behalf of whoever
that
used
shouldn't have been used at all.
That shouldn't have been used. So I see Mafi Mangdayan, because we're trying to set an example here as to how the said dialogue, critique. Let's disagree. And that's the only way forward. Honey, Ravi.
I agree with the point that Jagdish said about leadership being the point. And I think what we're touching around has been addressed over the centuries as well. It was Guru Ravi Das himself who said he dreamed of a state called Begumpura, where everybody would be equal, there would be no sorrow. Guru Gobind Singh wanted a Khalsa. Karl Marx wanted socialism. So we want a state where we're all free, equal, and without tyranny. Why hasn't the Arab Spring happened in India or Punjab? And for the work I've done, and my involvement is because of the sickness and the illness, which is caste discrimination, and the caste barriers that keep us all divided. You will never have that revolution until you get rid of that mentality, that thinking. You get rid of it, you discard it today, and we'll take a great leap into the future.
That's great. We've got 3 minutes left, so I want to give everybody a chance to. So, Jagtar, I'm going to give you 40 seconds, and then we'll work through.
Okay. So a couple of points. One is when we're talking about Ajadi, when we're talking about determination, my fear is this. In the UK, there's 500,000 Sikhs, give or take 500,000. So we have to learn how to govern. Governance is important. So if we have a Gurdwara throughout the UK and we have Sikhs throughout the UK, we should be learning or behaving in a way where governance is at the heart of everything we do.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I know Guru Sahib gave us Shakti, Guru Sahib gave us that free Azad sword, but it has to be framed into something, and governance is important.
Absolutely. Okay.
My second point, the caller earlier spoke about the Commonwealth heads of government, and then without India, that he wouldn't survive. I was actually at the meeting, the formal opening yesterday, and what I witnessed was that, at the end of the day, there are 53 countries, and all are important. And to say one is more important than the other, then Britain could say without Britain it couldn't survive. Even Britain doesn't say that. So I think one has to be relevant.
So we've just got a couple of minutes left. Indeed, 40 seconds. Final comments. And you can talk directly to the viewers.
Modi represents Hindutva. Hindutva is a fascist ideology. It believes in the supremacy of Hindus over all of the territories that are currently controlled by India. This fascist ideology is completely opposite to the egalitarian spirit and nature of the Sikhs. We will oppose it wherever it is. In terms of Punjab and its future, we've seen the Congress Party, we've seen the BJP, we've seen the Akalis, we've seen all sorts of people. They've all failed. Punjab has gone from bad to worse, from genocide to economic deprivation. We need to bring prosperity, freedom to Punjab, and Khalistan is the natural outcome.
Okay, Ravi, 30 seconds.
Let go of the barriers that divide us, come together, unite, be honest about it as well. Think about the platform in which we could come together, be it a secular one, but we've got more to gain from working together than opposing each other.
So guys, 30 seconds, only 30 seconds.
ਹਿੰਦੂ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਮੈਜੋਰਿਟੀ ਚੰਗੇ ਨਾ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਸਰਵਾਈਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੇ ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਇਹ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਫਾਸ਼ਿਜ਼ਮ ਜੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਾਸ਼ਿਸਟ ਜਮਾਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਕਲਾਸਿਸ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਪਰ ਔਨ ਦਾ ਹੋਲ ਵਾਸਟ ਮੈਜੋਰਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਆ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਆ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਸਰਵਾਈਵ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਮਿੰਟ ਹੋਰ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਗੈਟੋ ਪੋਲਿਟਿਕਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਦੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਰਿਆਣਾ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਰਾਜਸਥਾਨ ਯੂਪੀ ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੱਕ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ
20 seconds.
Build love, unity, commonality between all our nations, our peoples, Dalits, Punjabis, Kashmiris. Build that strength. The demonstration of that strength on Wednesday. Take that forward. Be a power for the future.
So I think I would say build solidarity for human rights. That's all that really matters. Whether you have a country or not, if you don't have human rights in that country is not worth having. So I think we've had a balanced discussion today, and let's build solidarity around those principles. So, boldiyan te puljo maaf karna. If I've said anything wrong, please forgive me. Try to keep the balance. Fateh bulao. Waheguru ji ka khalsa. Waheguru ji ki fateh.
अकाल चैनल नू सबसक्राइब करो नवी वीडियोस दी नोटिफिकेशन दे लई बेल आइकन नू क्लिक करना ना भुलना।